Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the presentation project that we will be doing in our Accounting 4 class. And I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the specifics for how to select a topic and kind of what the criteria are around the presentation. So I've got our our Canvas page pulled up here, and I'm just going to go into the modules, and then I'm going to scroll down into the there's a catch-all section here. Basically, has a bunch of things in it that are not specific to a certain chapter, etc. And so let's take a look here. We've got the class presentation assignment noted, and class presentation instructions. And so there's a couple options here, and I'm actually going to add a third option into the mix. If you want to select that is not represented here, this is kind of the traditional project as designed. But like I said, I want to add one more option if that would be something you'd be interested in. So hopefully some of you at least might prefer that. So we've got our class presentation instructions, and the two options that we've got noted here are the demonstration problem presentation, or as an alternative, we have the field trip presentation. So let's talk about these two first, and then I'll talk about the third presentation option that I have designed for our class this semester. So the demonstration problem presentation will be a presentation that you do by yourself. If you don't want to work in a group, you can select this option. And this is going to consist of presenting a demonstration problem similar to a homework problem to the class. So if you select that option, then reach out to me, or I'll reach out to you once I have a sign-up sheet that I'm working on here. So that's my goal for everyone. Once you select, for all those individuals who make certain selections, I will reach out and we'll have a discussion about what problem will select, etc. And if you pick this option, you will work alone, designing your presentation and presenting by yourself. And there's a number of different challenge problems in the book that I can select from, and we can work together, and you can provide that, kind of present that to the class. And it'll give you an opportunity to exercise your presentation skills, give your classmates additional exposure to the challenge problem topic. And you'll use Excel, PowerPoint, I don't think transparencies, but Excel and PowerPoint, or the board to present the problem. 10 minutes in length is the max that we want to shoot for. And there's a grading rubric we can look at. And we talk about professional dress, wearing something business casual, just as part of kind of like, if you're up in front of the class presenting, part of this assignment is practicing just, professional wear, dress, etc. So don't go out and buy any clothes for this or anything. This is not any kind of strict requirement that I'm going to judge you harshly on or have any kind of specific grading, but just, try and do your best. The more effort you put into the presentation, the higher grade you'll get, essentially. So just something to think about there. Okay, so that's option number one. And option number two is going to be this field trip presentation. So if you want to do a group presentation with up to 4 individuals, then you can select this option, and this will consist of doing basically a field trip to a manufacturing facility. And then you're going to come back and do your presentation to the class. Again, we're only going to limit these to 10 minutes, so pretty quick. It's not a huge project. If you work in a business that's a good fit, maybe you know someone who has a business, you can do a presentation about your work location, and doing that at least with two individuals, and not to exceed 4 in terms of the group size. And what we're looking for here is a manufacturing facility. So if you're doing this field trip, it needs to be a business that will have components of manufacturing, like the things we're talking about, such as raw materials, work in process, finished goods. So some ideas off the top of my head. I was actually took this class accounting for many years ago, and when I did this same project at that time, and we took a trip to Tin Roof Bakery in Chico, and we were able to look at here's our raw materials, flour and salt and all the things that go, and sugar and all the things that go into baking the items that they bake and that they make and sell at a Tin Roof Bakery. And so bakeries could be an example. Restaurants don't fit the bill, because what we really want to see is more manufacturing related. So creating a product that you sell. So you want to see it's got some raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. So more in the manufacturing type environment. It could, like I said, it could be something food related, but trying to be something more where it has a finalized product. So something like maybe Great Harvest Bread Company. Like I said, I think Tin Roof Bakery is still around at this time. Upper crust ideas. Those are some ideas kind of similar in that vein, but lots of other ideas, The only one that we kind of have as off limits, because it's just been done so many times and it doesn't really, it's just been done too many times, is Sierra Nevada. So everything other than Sierra Nevada is fine, and you can choose that as a manufacturing facility. So, but I do want you'll pick that from our sign up sheet. Again, I'll go over that in a moment. And once you have all your groups selected, discuss the project as soon as possible with me to verify that it's going to work and that it will, is a business that fits the bill that we're talking about. And then you're going to need to reach out to the business owner, or we say here, reach out to the managerial accountant who represents the facility and walk through the plant with them. But it could be a someone other than, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a managerial accountant. You could have a small business that makes certain products, and maybe it's just a business owner, for example, or something. So you're going to just make contact with someone at the business. If they have a managerial accountant person who understands the topics that we're discussing in this class, that would be amazing. But if that's not available, don't worry about that too much. Just try to get, them to, they might have different words for it, maybe, but they'll understand raw materials, work in process. They'll generally, I'm sure, understand those topics. Pretty basic stuff as far as if you are a manufacturer. And then you're going to come back to class and know about your presentation. Then after doing the tour, if you can take pictures along the way, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. Put them into some PowerPoint slides. Show us, here's the raw materials, and talk about that a little bit. And here's the work in process, and here's some pictures of what that is, what that looks like. Here's their finished goods, what kind of products that they produce, etc. And then maybe talk about, what they make, obviously, who buys their products, maybe how long they've been in business, etc. And as much as you can, talk about the accounting methods that they use, whether they're using processes like things like process costing or job order costing. Try to get some information about that from your visit. If they have multiple products, discuss a bit about the ways that they account for the different products. So again, some businesses might not have a specific managerial accountant on staff, but talking with them about some of these concepts as much as you can to try and get that information is what we're trying to get as far as the presentation goes. So one topic noted here is are there any significant byproducts? How does the facility deal with those? So that's interesting. Let's see. One other fun requirement is that you obtain contact information from the person who gave you the tour. Then your group will complete a thank you card and bring it to me on the day of presentation, mail the card out for you. So that's a fun little thing we can do just to say thanks, because they are inviting you into the facility and going out of their way to provide you a tour, just all out of the goodness of their heart. We're not offering them anything in return, essentially. So that's that. And because of that reason, it is a little more difficult, obviously, to reach out. This will be up to you and your group to make the contact. I will approve the idea, but I'm not going to be part of the discussions or anything like that. That's all on the group to choose to do the legwork of contacting the individuals there and scheduling the tour and doing all that type of stuff. So because it does involve a whole extra level of involvement and effort, if you do the field trip, that will be worth 10 extra credit points for each person in the group. So you get some extra credit points because this is going a little bit above and beyond. We do note the virtual tour, so I guess that could still be an option. Now, I think this was in here from COVID mostly, so I would prefer you're able to, and I would sure be much more interesting to be able to go on site. And I think the business would obviously, honestly, much prefer having you there. They don't want to try and somehow carry a phone or some camera around to show you things necessarily, but yeah. So let's talk about it. And once you have an idea, run it by me and let's see how that goes. And yeah, dress professionally out at the client as much as you can too. We want to make a good impression. Again, they're doing this out of the goodness of their heart, basically. And when you do your presentation, again, don't go out and buy any clothes, like I'm saying. Just something on the nicer side of the spectrum of business casual, basically, with what you got in the closet, etc. Logistics. So choosing this presentation, doing the field trip. We need to get this going as soon as possible, so you'll have time to do the legwork of setting up the field trip, etc. I don't want to get to the end of the semester and have all of our field trip presentations done on the same 3 days when we're trying to wrap up and study for the final necessarily. So we'll figure it out as we go. But the sooner we can do this, if we are going to be going out and planning, getting that going ASAP would be good. Okay, so those are two options. And then I wanted to throw a third option in there that's a little bit not quite just doing a homework problem that's by yourself and maybe not necessarily as involved as doing the extra credit, getting the extra credit points and doing all the legwork of setting up a tour. But the third option then, and I've just it's not listed out in the instructions here, but I've got it listed as the option to select here. And actually it's option number 2. That's going to be, so the option number 1 is the single presentation, present homework problem for class. Option number 3 is the up to 4-person group project, visiting a local manufacturing company. And then option number 2, the one I'm adding here into our class this semester, is the option to do a 2 to 3-person group. So at least 2 people. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to update this too. You could actually do a singular project if you like, I suppose, on this. I would kind of prefer that we have a group to do this because that will that'll make it so we don't have to do 30 presentations over the next so many weeks. So reach out to me if you want to do it solo. Reach out to me. I'm not totally opposed to that, but I would prefer to not have everyone doing a solo presentation because that's going to eat up a lot of time, basically. So I would prefer 2 to 3 people for this project, and that's going to be just a presentation that you create on and some topic that's related to our manufacturing and managerial accounting. And I've got this topic list here, suggested ideas. And so these are going to be things like data analytics and business intelligence. There's a growing use of data analytics tools for managerial accountants to make informed decisions. Obviously, things like artificial intelligence are becoming really kind of at the forefront, but other things too: real-time data analysis, predictive modeling, cost management and optimization. So how are businesses improving profitability and maximizing cost management, especially in these current times with high inflation, etc. Sustainability and environmental accounting is there's a focus on sustainability in the world these days. So maybe that's a kind of a topic to focus on. So a whole list of things: performance management, KPIs, risk management, new technology, internal controls and fraud prevention. So you can just look through this whole list here and see if that list kind of sparks a thought in your mind about doing a presentation on one of these options. And these aren't these are sort of just to give you an idea of the direction to go. And what I'm thinking as far as a presentation, when you choose one of these topics, for example, if you chose sustainability and environmental accounting, the presentation I would expect would have just a little bit of background around what is this, what does this even mean, what is sustainability and environmental accounting, nothing too involved. Like we said, this is 10 minutes tops, but just a brief background on what this even means. What are recent trends in this area? What businesses? Maybe pick a specific case study, but you could also pick like an industry. It would be nice to have a little case study of here's a business that is that is impacted by this topic, and I'm going to talk. Your group will talk real briefly about what's that impact on that business, and maybe what's in the industry, et cetera. Just to give us kind of a real world case example of how these topics are impacting the modern business world, essentially. So, and then maybe like, what does the future hold for at least what it looks like at this time? So there's a whole list of topics. I think I just want this to be kind of fun too. 3D printing, robotics in terms of smart factories, right? That's pretty cool. Rebuilding domestic manufacturing. You could talk about the increased focuses on reshoring or nearshoring production. Talk about tariffs is a big one, right? So you can take this kind of use these topics as just a push in a certain direction. Government incentives for manufacturing, that's interesting, right? So the whole, I thought there's a lot of interesting stuff here, and I want you to have fun with this project. I want you to learn something, and it's not a huge project like we mentioned. It's more about having kind of fun with this and learning something and bringing something to the class that you're in, you were really interested to learn, and make it kind of fun for us to learn about as well. So in addition to just these topics that I have, there's also a list of, you could do a presentation on large manufacturing companies. So I got a list of the largest manufacturing companies in the world by revenue. So Apple, Toyota, Volkswagen, etc. So if you want to do kind of a presentation just on these companies and their history, where they're at, maybe some specific significant issues or changes or current events that correspond with their industry or them as a business, that would be interesting. So you could do that kind of thing too. So here's a list of manufacturing companies in the world by revenue, in the USA largest by revenue, and then some of the largest companies in the pharmaceutical industry, agriculture industry, food industry. So if you wanted to pick Tyson Foods and talk about their history and the kind of products that they produce, maybe just what kind of accounting do they do? What is their corporate structure? What are some significant challenges that they have faced or have overcome or are currently facing? And what does the future look like for that industry and then them as a business in that industry? Maybe sustainable accounting and sustainability metrics are important. So you can kind of tie some of these topics together too. So if you pick one of these companies, you could look at these topics for potential interesting kind of subtopics to look at in relation to these businesses. So this is really just there's a whole list of just ideas. I just want to give you some ideas, some food for thought is basically how this whole list is set out, and you can kind of run with that and make it something that interests you in terms of doing a little presentation. So here's the whole topic list, and again, it's just food for thought, nothing specific. Like you're not just going to pick this one and it's going to be like, I'm just going to look at what it's saying here. Just use this as a starting point to do some analysis and find something interesting that has to do with this topic and do a presentation that way. So those are the three options. Again, 2 to 3 individuals would be preferred for going this route, but reach out to me, and if we have the time for it, I'm okay doing solo presentations on something as well. But it would be nice to do a group project so we could aggregate time. And then you have someone else to present. You don't have to present for the full 10 minutes. You have someone else to do some of the research. You guys can split up the work. So hopefully that is a good thing for y'all too. So I'm going to make this a link to this Google sheet, this Google spreadsheet, so we all can do inputs into this. If you have as long as I make it, I think it's public. I'll work on that, but it should be open for everyone. And so there will be a link to this sign up sheet I haven't made it yet, but it'll be under the class presentation assignment. I'll make a new page that says class presentation sign up, and I'm going to ask that we get this sign up done at least by next Monday. So next Wednesday in class, maybe if you all want to have a discussion with your classmates about what groups you want to be in, but also if you can do it now, awesome. The sooner the better we get started on this. And you can reach out to your classmates, I think, through Canvas or through the Classroom Cafe kind of thing. You can contact them privately, I think, and say, hey, this is so and so. We sit next to each other, and do you want to work together? If you haven't already discussed, that'd be great. So, so how you can sign up? Then use the sign up links. There's just a drop down, so you can pick from the different options, and then up to 4 individuals depending on the option you pick, and then just put your name in here so I can review the list, and then I can reach out to you all and come up with we can talk about what topic you're thinking. So I didn't necessarily put a spot for the topics here necessarily, but once I see who's doing what, I'm going to reach out to you all. And so 4 of you are doing a field trip. I'll see that listed on here, and then I'll send you an email, or send me an email if you can, as soon as possible. Actually, that would be preferred. Maybe I'll put a note on that. Once you have a group set out and you have an idea of what type of presentation you want to do, maybe I'll say, email me with your thoughts on what that presentation is going, what you're going to do, where you're going to go for your field trip, or what you're thinking from, if you're doing option 2, what kind of topic you're thinking about doing for your presentation, etc. So I'll make a note on that says, email Zach once you have an idea. Send me an email with the list out, like who's in your group. I can see that here, but just have it again so it's easy for me to see who's in the group, what you're thinking as far as which option you're choosing, and then what your presentation is kind of be focused on. So cool. All right. Well, hopefully that's straightforward. Again, I'll make a link here that you can click into for the sign up sheet, and then you can just type in all the different names. If it's just the option 1 single presenter, you just need one name. If you're doing the 2 to 3 person topic, put you get the point. Up to 4 people. If you got 4, no more than 4 per group, just because it gets a little unwieldy and it's hard to divvy out work when it's that many people. So, yeah. So option 3 is up to 4 is the max per group. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. Reach out if you have any additional questions, and hopefully this all is straightforward and makes sense. Have some fun with it. I personally, like I said, went out and did a field trip when I took this class many years ago, and it was a lot of fun. It's cool to be able to go out there and get some real boots on the ground experience and understand how some of these topics that we're talking about in class and learning about it are actually being implemented in the real world. Give you a little spark on jobs that are out there doing this manufacturing type stuff. Yeah, just learn something new. I think it'll be fun, and I hope you have fun with it, and then bring that to us. And I'm excited to learn about what you all learn about. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. Reach out to me if you have any questions. And like I said, I'll have the sign up sheet here ready shortly, and you'll be able to go in and start doing your selections. And I'm going to put an assignment with a due date of next Monday for having the selections done, because we need to get this rolling, and I want that to show up on your to-do list. So I don't think I'm going to put a point. I might make a little bit of like 1 point or 2 points or something just to get it done soon. That will be one of the requirements of the assignment, is that you don't drag your feet on selecting your topic. So I might make it a small part of the overall grade for the assignment, is just making your selection and getting that done. But also, when I make it an assignment like that with the due date, it will show up in your list of to-dos on your Canvas, and hopefully, in case it slips your mind or something, that'll remind you. So, all right, everybody, thanks, and look forward to seeing your presentations.